Hey everybody, welcome back to Invest In. My name's Logan. I've spoken to you several times before about some of our other investment areas, our short-term rentals, some of our high liquidity, high interest rate savings accounts. But one of the areas that I haven't spoken about in our videos before is my investments, alternative investments, if you want to call them that, into Pokemon cards, typically sealed Pokemon card collectibles. Now, this is something that clearly not everybody views as an investment. Honestly, I don't even view it in the same lens as an investment, not even crypto. This is something that, for me, I have always grown up as a large fan of Pokemon. I remember as a kid collecting the cards, battling with the cards, watching the anime on sleepovers, and now that I'm a full blown adult with an MBA and multiple businesses, this is something that is somewhat of a collectible escape for me, but it has the benefit of also being a generally an appreciating asset, as things tend to do when they're collectible, limited quantity, scarcity associated with it, but like many other collectibles, it's high risk. It's highly uncertain and speculative and depends on the whims and wills of the market. So, what I'd like to do today is address some uncertainty that I've seen in some recent videos, in some posts around the Pokemon investing community, really, regarding which product types are good to invest in. This is not a video that offers financial advice. I'm not giving financial advice or investment advice, nor am I really providing advice even on which particular sets to invest in. Some of them, Darkness Ablaze, for instance, modern, have been notoriously viewed as lower sets, less desirable sets. Others, like Evolving Skies, are clearly more in demand. But regardless of the set, even if you've narrowed down which set you'd like to buy into, what products do you buy? If you stick with me till the end of the video, I'm going to break down 6 different investment criteria or decision-making factors that I'm going to apply across 5 of the most common product types, 5 of the most common things you could buy. So let's take a look at what those 6 different investment criteria are. So the first decision-making criteria, the first investment criteria is liquidity. Liquidity really is how easily can you get your money out of something. Something like a house, real estate, is not very liquid. It's illiquid. It takes a long time to sell. Something like a high-yield savings account is virtually as liquid as cash. You can take your money out immediately. Factor number 2 is the overall risk. What's the risk associated with holding that particular product type? Is it, maybe something that the market doesn't like as much? Is there more uncertainty associated with it? Risk could be good, but it's risk at the end of the day. Factor number 3 is the price barrier. How expensive is this product to get into? Clearly, buying one single pack is going to be cheaper than buying an entire pallet of packs. So there's something of a spectrum there. Criteria number 4 is the shipping cost. A heavier product, a bulkier product, when you do decide to liquidate it, unless you're doing everything in person, which is very difficult and slow to do unless you've got a brick and mortar store or want to meet with a bunch of people on Facebook Marketplace, which is a possibility, but you're going to have to ship things, and that costs money. Factor number 5 is the potential return on investment. What is is it an investment that's going to double your money? Are you going to get 2x out of this, or are you only going to get 1.5x? Are you going to do something closer to a high yield savings account that'll give you maybe 5% return, or the stock market on average that gives something like 8% on average year over year. And the last factor, number 6, is storage. As you can see, it takes space to store things. It depends on if you want to display them in a collection, as I am with some of what I have, or if you just simply want to store it in a closet or a warehouse in a cardboard box. Either way, you're going to need climate control, you're going to need space, it's going to take storage. So let's see how 5 different common product types rank across those 6 different criteria. All right. So one of the most common things that you'll see if you go out to your Walmarts, your Targets, your big box stores, or you search online, you'll see Elite Trainer boxes, ETBs. ETBs are very available for modern sets. So available, in fact, that for liquidity, I'm going to give these a 4 out of 10. They're extremely available in the market to the point where it's actually hard to sell them. For risk, I'm actually going to give it a 6 out of 10, a little bit better, because they do sell, just not for a lot. You can and probably will always be able to unload ETBs, but how many people really want them given how many there are? As far as price barrier goes, the MSRP on ETBs actually just went up with the current Scarlet Violet generation. So realistically, you're looking at something like $50 if you're paying store's MSRP, but you could get them for as little as 30, 35 if you can scoop them up on an online shop, or maybe you can apply a TikTok deal or something to lower that cost down to that maybe $30 to $50 range. For potential ROI, to be honest, there's a lot of speculation that these probably just aren't going to appreciate that fast. Are they going to go up a little bit? Yes, and we've seen that. But are they going to double and triple and more? I don't know. Obviously, it depends on the set. Some of them probably will, others not so much. For potential ROI, I'm going to go with a 6, as well as a 6 on shipping cost. Shipping cost, these are pretty bulky. I have this one in a plastic protector, but even without that, there's some weight. There's some weight to it, and you're going to have to pay to ship it. As far as storage goes, middle of the road. I'm going to go with a 5. So these do stack nicely. They do come tightly, densely packaged in their case. But in this large package, there's only 8 or 9 booster packs in here. That doesn't take up very much space. You're storing a lot of air. And yes, that air has some cool artwork on the front, which, as you can see in my collection, does make for a nice display piece, especially when you stack them in some of these containers that protect them. But also you've got flimsy plastic on the outside, and it's a little bit difficult to store. So all in all, modern ETBs, I'm going to come in with 34 on my scale for evaluation criteria. Let's go ahead and check out the next product. Now, the next product that I'd like to talk about is vintage sealed. And by vintage, there's some debate on what we mean. I'm talking mostly about things that are significantly older. Wizards of the Coast era or early Nintendo. Some of the vintage sealed products that you can buy that I remember from when I was a kid, the early WotC days. They're certainly collectible, and there's certainly a market for them. But let's talk about how they score. Something like a vintage pack that's sealed, is it liquid? Yeah, it's pretty liquid. It's pretty liquid. I'm going to give it a liquidity boost over an ETB with a 7. And I'm going to say that if I wanted to sell this fossil pack here, I could easily sell. There are far fewer fossil booster packs sealed than there are Paldean Fates ETBs sealed. It's a lot easier to sell an older pack than a newer pack, as long as you're willing to sell it at market price. You can sell them. As far as the risk, though, I'm not going to be able to give it a boost in the risk, but it's a different risk. So for newer products, the risk is just there's so many of them in the market. for older products, how many people are going to want these older products in the future? Clearly some, but children who are getting into the hobby now may not be as sentimentally attached as people like me who got in our youth. So there is a little bit of a different risk there. As far as the price barrier, I'm actually going to score these lower, so to speak. There are some cheaper vintage products than ETBs, some, but realistically, you're going to be spending more. You're going to be spending $100, two, three, or much more. Some of the older sealed booster boxes or some of the crazy rare products, they're not even worth talking about in this video. They're so unattainable to people, average people. You're talking tens of thousands of dollars. It's madness. As far as shipping, though, I'm going to give them a little bit of a boost here because it doesn't cost that much to ship something like this. You can very easily take this, wrap it up in some bubble wrap, and send it very cheaply, as long as it's well packaged. Potential ROI? Hard to say. I'm actually going to drop this down a little bit from where I had Elite Trainer boxes and give it a 5, because realistically, you just don't know. You know, a lot of this has already seen a lot of appreciation. Unless you've got product that you scooped up when it was a lot cheaper, we might be sitting at a high now for some things. If you look at trending prices for vintage sealed, it's a mixed bag. It's really a mixed bag. As far as storage goes, typically if you've got vintage product, you're going to want to put it in a collection, put it on display, or even if you don't want to put it on display, it's typically a lot higher value for smaller products, so the storage isn't near as bad. Overall, we're going to give this a 37, up 3 points from previously at a 34. As you can see, we picked up some points in liquidity and storage, but dropped on price. So moving on to the third product category, we've got loose booster packs. Now, loose booster packs, they're about the easiest thing to get. Loose booster packs are what you're after in any product. But if you buy a collection box and open it and break it down, all you've got are loose booster packs. So realistically, it provides for an interesting analysis basket. So for something like this, liquidity, I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to say, can you sell a loose booster pack? Yes, absolutely you can. Probably at market price for a little bit cheaper than maybe you'd like, but yes, you can. The drawback there is I'm going to have to give these a pretty low score. I'm going to go with a 3 for overall risk. And you might be wondering why, but with loose booster packs, there's very little in the way here between me and the cards, which makes for tampering much more likely. You could very easily open, reseal. Resealed cards are a huge problem. So that risk of not having some additional layer of protection, that cardboard, that hard plastic on a different sealed product or the ETB, it's a riskier play. However, I've got no choice but to give the shipping cost and the price barrier top marks. It doesn't get any cheaper to buy or ship than one single quantity of the cheapest product you can find. That's where the floor is. So while it's risky to some degree, it's also the easiest point. You can squirrel away loose booster packs if you can avoid opening them and just simply let them sit. It doesn't take much. Same thing, I'll jump ahead to storage. I'm going to give storage an 8. It's very easy to store a loose booster pack. There's not really much more to say there, but in terms of potential ROI, I'm going to back off to a 7 for this product because it's really hard to say. A lot of times people are willing to pay more for the sealed premium associated with larger products. ETBs, collection boxes, even sealed check lane blisters add that extra layer of confidence that a loose booster pack just doesn't have. So liquidity and ROI, speaking together, can you sell them? Will you make money selling them? Yeah, probably. But spoiler alert, I'm going to get into a better option here next. As you can see, we picked up quite a few points with low shipping and low price barrier, but that risk though, overall, not bad, but let's take a look at what's better. So, product number 4. What's better than one loose booster pack? 36 loose booster packs in a booster box. This is a favorite of many collectors for many reasons. Number 1, it adds that extra layer of protection. You've got the additional shrink wrap, you've got the additional protection of having another sealed product. It's a lot harder to tamper with those when they're protected in something else. Secondarily, it wraps it up as its own unit, and that adds its own collection value premium to it. So from a liquidity standpoint, I'm going with a 9. I'm going almost as good as a loose booster pack for that. You can very easily buy and sell booster boxes. There's 36 packs in a booster box, easy enough to sell, but usually they go for a premium over 36 loose booster packs because they're still sealed in their booster box. So liquidity and potential ROI, I'm going with a 9. As far as the risk goes, there's not much risk. There's a little bit of a risk just simply in the sense that some booster boxes are better than others. Also, this wrap, if you're not aware, is very flimsy. If I can show it in the camera here, this is a very thin wrap. These Pokeballs can be actually rubbed away as a sign of tampering, whereas, this is much less likely to get damaged. So in terms of storage, I'm going to go with a 7. They do store well enough. They're dense, relatively easy to store, especially if you keep them in a case of booster boxes and don't handle them or put them in some kind of protection. As far as risk, I'm going to go with an 8. Not a lot of risk, but there's some risk. Also, if the set just doesn't do well over time, you've got 36 of that product instead of just 1 or something else. In terms of price barrier, I'm going to go with a 6 here. This is probably the lowest area that I'm going to give this product, and that's really just because it is probably the most expensive thing you can buy from a particular set. Besides maybe an ultra premium collection or something along those lines, but for most booster boxes, there's an MSRP of $140, $160. Typically, you can buy them cheaper than that, especially when they just come out, closer even down to the $100 price point or $120. It's very easy to pick them up in that range. I've scooped booster boxes up for down in the 70s and 80s if you can get the right sale on the right product at the right time. But that said, shipping is something of an in-between. I'm going to go with a 7 on shipping for this product. Shipping is not difficult, but they are heavy. They're dense. They're dense little products, which is good for storage, which is good for overall investability, collectability. But when you go to ship it, especially if you've got multiple that you're shipping to one location, you've got to package them very carefully. You've got to know what you're doing so that if you break this seal, if somebody gets it and it's all dinged up and scraped open, they might actually return it for that reason, and then you're in a really bad place. For many people, booster boxes are king. On my scoreboard, 46 points, continuing to raise the bar, especially with that high ROI and low risk. So that said, I've talked through 4 potential products that are all fairly good investments for their own reasons, but I've not yet explained my top pick. So now I'm going to explain what I would love to invest in, my top Pokemon investment pick. So maybe you saw it coming, maybe you didn't, but my overall top pick is 3-pack blisters. 3-pack blisters are, in my opinion, one of the safest, best performing products from a collectability and an investability standpoint. I don't think we really need to pick apart every category here. I'm giving this 8s and 9s across the board, and I'm going to highlight some of the main reasons here. But realistically, what you're looking at is you've got 3 products, 3 booster packs, and a promo card, and a coin. They're protected, they're sealed in hard plastic and cardboard. So there's that not tamper proof, but tamper resistant element to it, as well as something, that displays pretty nicely on its own. Not to mention stores taking up very little space and ships pretty cheaply. There's also a Black Star promo card in every one, and that can only usually be found in the 3-pack blister. So, in a sense, you're really taking a popular set, a popular product investment category of a booster pack, and you're sealing them to, you've got single promo card, booster packs, and a coin sealed together in one little investment portfolio sandwich. And that, in my opinion, is a wonderful product to have. Plus, they're very liquid, they're very desirable, and they're very easy to ship out. One of the reasons I haven't talked a lot about so far is reprints. Market demand, reprints coming in and flooding the market. You hear about reprints. One thing you don't hear very much about are reprints of 3-pack blisters. They don't get reprinted nearly as much or nearly as easily as it is to reprint ETBs or booster boxes. Those are 2 of the primary products that stores want, and it typically is what sees a reprint. More niche specialty type products like sealed 3-pack blisters or collection boxes per se don't necessarily always see the effects of the reprint, even though the set price will fluctuate over time. This individual product type, maybe not so much. So, as we've discussed, with the potential immunity towards reprints, the tamper resistance, the promo card, the ease of storage, many other reasons, this is my highest scoring product. 51 points, top marks or near top marks in nearly all categories. This is a winner if I've ever seen one, but don't necessarily have to take my opinion for it. Go back and look at sales data. Go check out what the market or how the market values these 3-pack blisters, and you will see they have performed very favorably. So, when all is said and done, if you're going to pick up some sealed Pokemon investments, I don't think that there's much that would be a bad idea. Typically, try to shop sales, try to buy online if possible for just general best practices. You don't want to pay more than you need to. You also don't want to pick up something and aim to keep it if it's not going to have the demand and desirability in the future. So acquiring things that are maybe vintage, that are maybe sealed and have some security associated with it in the future are, in my opinion, a pretty safe way to go about building up your sealed Pokemon investment collection. So if you've got any questions, maybe you disagreed with something I said, sorry this video got a little bit long, but if you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about some of this, and I'd like to share more of my experience and journey with you as to how I built out my portfolio to help you do the same. We would love it if you would smash the like button, subscribe if you'd like to see some more content. Let me know if you've got any questions or suggestions for our next video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Hello from future Logan in post-production editing. I just realized this is by far the longest video that I've ever made for my channel. Thanks very much for sticking around to the end, and to show my appreciation, I would love to do a giveaway for everybody who made it this far. Leave a comment down below letting me know your favorite set from any generation, and that will enter you into a drawing. I will contact the winner, and we will ship out a little care package to you with some packs, maybe some stickers, some extra goodies, maybe even some vintage stuff. So thanks very much. What a wonderful community. Let me know your favorite set down below for a chance to win. Thanks a lot.